Not my daddy.
Yeah.
Not my daddy. I know. Okay, are we? Council's here, so we're gonna go ahead and start this meeting. Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. The special Southgate City Council, June 8th. Roll call, please.
Mayor Davila,
Present.
Vice Mayor Barron,
Present.
Councilmember Avalos,
Present.
Councilmember Hurtado,
Present.
Councilmember Rios, City Treasurer de La Paz,
Present.
City Attorney Salinas,
He's
On his
around here.
way.
and Arturo Cervantes is here as Assistant City Manager.
Yes, Arturo Cervantes sitting in for Rob Houston today.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go with item number 1.
The City Council will declare July 2025 as Parks Makes Life Better Month.
City, I'm gonna call you city attorney. Vice Mayor, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll be reading the proclamation declaring July 2025 as Park Makes Life Better Month. Whereas park and recreation programs are an integral part of the communities throughout the country, including the city of Southgate, and their significantly contribute to the health and well-being and quality of life for all residents. And whereas park, trails, and open spaces and recreational facilities serve as gathering places that foster community pride, connect residents with nature, and provide opportunities for exercise, relaxation, and social interaction. And whereas the City of Southgate Parks and Recreation Department offer essential programs, events, services, promote healthy and wellness, cultural enrichment, youth development, and lifelong learning. And whereas Parks and Recreation Services support the economic vitality of our city by attracting visitors, increasing property value, and creating jobs. And whereas the California Parks and Recreation Society has declared the month of July as Park Makes Life Better Month to raise awareness of the vital role parks play in enriching our community of life. And whereas 2025 theme Build Together, Play Together reflects the power of parks and recreation to unite individuals, families, and neighborhoods in shared experiences that strengthen community bonds, promote inclusion, and create joyful, lasting memories. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed on this 8th day of July 2025 that I, Maria Davila, Mayor of the City of Southgate, on behalf of the City of Southgate City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of July 2025 as Parks Makes Life Better Month in the City of Southgate. Encourage all residents to build together, play together, and actively enjoy, support, participate in their local parks program and activities. Signed by Maria Davila, our mayor.
Okay, thank you. So receiving the proclamation, we have a representative from Parks. Would you like to say something about the beautiful parks of Southgate? Or Steve?
I will open it up
Okay.
and say, as it says there, building together and playing together. Obviously, it's been one of those years here, definitely building together. As this Saturday, we'll open our second new park in the whole year. So definitely a time frame there. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But also playing together. Solomon Lopez, our recreation coordinator in charge of special events. Just a few of those playing togethers that he has. Just last Thursday, we had our first concert in the park for summer. The Mariachi Divas were here. We had about 450 of our residents out dancing, enjoying themselves, eating food, and doing all sorts of good things out there. He's also put on the Halloween event with like 10,000 kids and breakfast with Santa and the Winter Wonderland. So just some of the ways that our community gets to play together because parks and recreation make life better. So Solomon Lopez is here to accept the award for us. You want to come say hi at least?
Say hi.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me over here. It's a great honor accepting this award. Like Steve said, I've been planning all these special events, as well as our family nights that we have. We're having a dinner and a magic show coming up in September. All these events are great for the community to share with as adults and as a kids. But thank you. Thank you for having me right here, accepting this award.
Thank you. So with that, let's go ahead and take a picture. Or what you want to say?
I just do really quickly. I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, but I do want to just thank Solomon really for all your work that you do there at the park, and really for the entire staff. But it really, I want to highlight your energy and just the amount of enthusiasm that you take in the everyday functions of being there. Every time when I show up to an event, I think I gravitate to you because I see the amount of joy that you take in being there. And that is why I think these events become so successful, because we have people like you that are really making it that successful. When we have the fun run, when we have the 5K events, and that fun run, as much as you guys want to call it a fun run, it's not fun.
It is fun. A lot of work for the kids.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, it's maybe fun. You're right. It's fun for the kids. It's not fun for a 42-year-old or 43 now. But I really want to thank you and really, Steve, your staff, for all the great things that they do in our parks. And you know, we've had some comments made regarding some of our decision making on, you know, how do we make decisions with our budget, and what we have to decide in the future of you know, when we receive grant money, you know, we need to make better choices on, you know, some of those decisions that we make may impact future budgets. Well, when somebody gives us $32 million to build a new park, it's kind of hard to say no to it. When somebody gives us $5 million to renovate a new park for a community, it's kind of hard to say, no, we're not going to do that for the community. And it's because we have great staff like Solomon and the great people here that we can do that. I think we will. This is exactly the reason why we have to make these kind of choices. But thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So with that, we're on to item number 2.
Conference with legal
Oh, it's
counsel
not-
pending litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9A, 54954.9B3C. A, Daniel Garcia versus City of Southgate et al. B, Ana Sanchez de Guillen versus City of Southgate et al. Item number 2, conference with labor negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. Agency representation is Arturo Cervantes, Assistant City Manager, unrepresented employees, top management department directors, hourly employees, employee organizations, Southgate MEA, Southgate PMMA, Southgate DMA, Southgate PMA, and Southgate POA. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. City Attorney, do we have any? Where's our City Attorney? Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience? We don't have any. Do we had any emails?
We do have 2 emails. One, they're both from Mr. Dominguez.
Go
One
ahead.
is for closed session item number 1, and then closed session item number 2. The first one, he states he expresses frustration with the city council's failure to apply for competitive grants for a splash pad at Southgate Park despite the $50 million funding opportunity for 2025. He emphasized that this is a crucial chance to secure funding for the design of the splash pad, which would benefit the community. He compared Southgate to the neighboring cities that have already built splash pads and urged the city council to act before the community is lost. And then on the item number 2, closed session, he states, provides your question stating, council members, why are you so intent to giving our pay and salary increases to our City Hall employees when our city has no money. That's it, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you. We don't have our city attorney? Oh, okay. Okay, so with that, we'll go on to closed session. Okay, good evening, everyone. We're waiting for our councilwoman, Avalos. So anyone that needs translation in Spanish can, if you need translation in Spanish, we have, let me say it in Spanish. Si necesitan traducción en español, ¿ya tienen audífonos para que escuchen? Ok, perfecto. Gracias. Okay, City Attorney, let's go ahead and do the closed session and wait for our councilwoman for the regular meeting.
Very well, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much. In closed session, the city council met with legal counsel to discuss two matters of pending litigation. The first matter, Daniel Garcia versus the city of Southgate, involved a claim against the city from someone riding a motorized bicycle on the city sidewalk. The city attorney provided the city council with a status update on that case and received guidance from the city council. There's no vote taken afterwards. On item number 1B, Ana Sanchez de Guillen versus the city of Southgate. This is a claim of an individual who fell on a portion of Long Beach Boulevard and is bringing a lawsuit against the city of Southgate. As a result, there's a brief presentation made by the city attorney, and upon completion of that presentation, there was a motion made by the mayor and seconded by council member Pilar Avalos, and on a vote of 5-0, there's a motion to authorize the city attorney to defend that matter. On item number 2, conference with labor negotiator, there was a presentation made by city staff in closed session, and upon completion of that presentation, there was no reportable action taken by the city council. No other items were discussed, Madam Mayor. That completes my report.
Thank you, City Attorney. At this time, anyone in the audience would like to speak on any of the items that were just spoken of? Okay, if not, and we don't have no emails. Can I get a motion to adjourn this?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you. Okay, okay, I'm going to call the Southgate City Council regular meeting of Tuesday, June the 8th. And at this time, if I can have Steve Costley do the invocation, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be done by our city attorney. Please stand.
Please rise and bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day and all that you do provide to us, Lord. We ask, Lord, for your wisdom in the decision-making that will go on tonight here. We ask, Lord, that you give your blessing to both our council members and all of our residents here. We especially, Lord, ask for your protection around our police department. We ask all this in our Heavenly Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Ready to begin?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Davila,
Present.
Vice Mayor Barron,
Present.
Councilmember Avalos,
Present.
Councilmember Hurtado,
Present.
Councilmember Rios,
Present.
City Treasurer de la Paz,
Present.
Assistant City Manager Cervantes,
This is Art Cervantes sitting in for Rob Houston.
City Attorney Salinas.
Present.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
At this time, we will go on to item number 1. We have a public hearing.
The City Council will consider adopting a resolution approving the 5-year 2025 2029 Consolidated Plan and fiscal year 25-26 Annual Action Plan. B, authorizing the city manager or designee to submit to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development the 5-year 2025 through 29 Consolidated Plan and fiscal year 25-26 Annual Action Plan. And C, authorizing the city manager or designee to enter into an agreement with the eligible subrecipients, in a form acceptable to city attorney. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Art.
Yes, I can do just a very brief introduction. Tonight, we're conducting the second public hearing for the city's 5-year consolidation plan and the annual action plan. These plans outline how the city will allocate its CDBG and home investment partnership funds that are received from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The funds support a variety of important programs such as affordable housing, economic development initiatives. And with that, I'll turn it over to Carol Everview that is going to provide a presentation.
Thank you. Good
Go ahead.
evening, Mayor, council members. We have the presentation. Let me just wait for the slides. Okay, so we have the presentation tonight for the fiscal years 2025-2029 consolidated plan and the fiscal year 2025-2026 annual action plan. This is the second hearing. So the consolidated plan outlines the city goals, objectives, priorities, and strategies to achieve its goals. The annual action plan further outlines specific strategies and activities that will help carry out the goals outlined in the consolidated plan. The elements of the consolidated plan are the needs assessment. We do a housing market analysis, 5-year strategic plan, the action plan, and we also look at the citizen participation plan. For the fiscal years 2025-2029, the consolidated plan proposed goals. This table illustrates the city's proposed fiscal years 25-29, the consolidated plan goals and priorities. So based on the analysis done through the consolidated plan, the priorities or the goals haven't changed from the past consolidated plan. So the goals that we have are the planning and administration, fair housing, which is a requirement is a regulatory requirement for affirmatively further fair housing. Also public service grants, maintain and provide affordable housing, public facilities and infrastructure improvements, as well as economic development. For CDBG, this year, what we have available, the allocation that we received from HUD is $1.1 million. This is a decrease of 4% from last fiscal year. And we also have a prior year uncommitted funds of $165,774 for a total of $1.3 million. So for this fiscal year 25-26, we are proposing to use the CDBG funds and the following activities. We're required to utilize 20% of the entitlement we receive each year for administration of the program, as well as fair housing services. So the 20% is $238,527. In regards to public service grants, we have the following projects that have been approved by the Citizens Advisory Committee. For one of the public service grants is the college internship program, which the recommendation is $22,000. The Southgate Police Explorers was recommended to allocate $23,000. For graffiti abatement, the allocation is 94, or the recommended allocation is 94,000. For the family violence prevention is 24,895, and for the Southern California Rehabilitation Program is 15,000. So the total amount available for public service grants based on the 15% cap that we have is 178,895. And so we have maximized the allocations for public service grants. Other projects that we have are the Southgate Women's Business Center, which is an economic development project, and the allocation recommended is 12,000. The Neighborhood Revitalization Program, $415,000, that provides grants, rehabilitation grants for seniors. And then we also have the Street and Sidewalk Improvement Project, and the allocation recommended was 513,990. So the total amount program for CDBG is $1.3 million. In regards to the home investment partnerships program, the resources that we received this year was $504,936.85, which is 11% deduction of 11% from prior year. And we also have prior year uncommitted funds of 2.6 million. So in total, we have available under home $3.1 million. The proposed home activities for fiscal year 25-26, there is a cap for administration of 10%, which is $50,493. The Choto set aside, which is the community housing development organizations, the cap is 15%, and it is $75,741. For the homeowner rehabilitation program, the recommendation is to allocate 41,000. For the affordable housing development project for Azure development, we're recommending 800,000. For Habitat for Humanity, which is also an affordable housing project, is 859,190. And then there is another project, another affordable housing project for Cesar Chavez Foundation, where the recommendation is 1.3 million. I wanted to point out that the Azure and the Habitat for Humanity projects are homeownership projects, and the Cesar Chavez Foundation is a multifamily mixed use. So here are the projects and where they are located. Here is the Azure project, which is on Long Beach Boulevard. The Habitat for Humanity project is also on Long Beach Boulevard, and the Cesar Chavez Foundation project is on Firestone Boulevard. So we have some pictures for you on the street improvement projects that were completed recently. We have the before and after for the Industrial Avenue and Main Street. Here is Pinehurst Avenue near Southern Avenue, and these are the pictures of after paving. There is another picture of Pinehurst Avenue near Tweedy Boulevard. And then here's a picture of Hildred Avenue near Southern. And this is also an after paving picture. Any questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
So, Madam Mayor, if I, at the request of the city attorney, I'd like to suggest that we allow the public to comment before the council takes any questions. And before the council begins its questioning, I'd like for us to just recess this particular agenda item, close out the public comment, and then allow me to some additional time before the council asks questions.
Okay.
So we can bring this up towards the end of the meeting after you go through the rest of the agenda. Would that be acceptable?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. So with that, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anyone in the audience who would like to speak on any of the items on this public hearing, please come forward. No? Okay, then I'm going to close the public hearing. And do we have any emails?
We have 2 emails, Madam Mayor.
No, just on this item. This is a public hearing. Thank you. Do we have any emails?
We have 2 emails, Madam Mayor.
Can you go ahead and read them, please?
I have Mr. Mario Dominguez, who urges the city council to allocate as much CDBG funding as possible from the 25 through 29 consolidated plan to the Department of Parks and Recreation. He emphasized that investing in the parks is an investment in the community. He highlighted that Southgate's parks are valued not just by residents, but also by those from neighboring cities. He stressed that with looming budget cuts, this is a critical opportunity to support and enhance the city's parks, which residents deeply appreciate and deserve. The second comment is from Mr. Edgar Pelayo, who advocates for the CDBG funding to be used for the Parks and Recreation. He emphasized the broad community benefits, perks provided in promoting health, wellness, and youth development. He highlights the recent success of securing over $1 million in funding for park improvements, crediting the director, Steve Costley, Mr. Mario Dominguez, and Citizens Advisory Committee for their efforts. He urged a more proactive approach in allocating CDBG funds to avoid the risk of losing unused money and to continue investing in spaces that bring Southgate residents together. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, back to you, City Attorney.
So at this time, Madam Mayor, I would just defer further consideration of this. You don't need a motion on this. I would move on to the next items on the agenda, and then we'll take a break and we'll come back afterwards and pick this discussion up with the city council at that point in time.
Okay. Okay, so we,
So move to the comments. The next item is comments from the audience on
Okay.
non-agenda
so this
items.
is going to continue this.
On non-agenda
on
items.
non-agenda items.
Right.
Okay. Okay, at this time, anyone in the audience that would like to speak on anything that it's not on the agenda, please come forward.
Yeah.
My name is Vicky Schroyer. Family in the city for 32 years. My 61 years here on Earth, I've lived in Maywood, Bell, Cudahy, Bell Gardens. You name it, I've been there. Graduated from Bell High School. I just wanted to come and not knock the city council and the mayor, but show my disappointment for the cancellation of the celebration for the 4th of July at the park. I totally get what's going on in the city and the surrounding cities with the enforcement of the, immigration law. And I have friends who are undocumented, documented, but I want the city council to remember that we do have approximately 100,000 residents that are still in this city and legal and had a right to participate in the celebration for the 4th of July at the park. Generations have been celebrating, and decades, we've been there, 3 decades celebrating, and that's what I came here today to say. Thank you.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
My name is Alice, and again,
Can you put the mic closer to you?
sure.
There you go.
My family has been here since 1967, businesses and the residents, and I totally agree with that lady. I was very disappointed. I feel for the vendors who lost income that day, and I was prepared to bring some children with me. And it just makes it makes the rest of the country look like this is a huge haven of people that are totally undocumented. And that's not so. I mean, I have tenants that are undocumented. That's, and I don't ask them. That's, but doing that, you just strike a fear into people. And people don't need that. You're playing into this whole fear game out there. And I'm really disappointed. I mean, I could be stopped because, septuagenarian, Latina, an old lady walking down the street, yes. But I am not going to stop uh, walking around, going to church, going with the kids. You're all playing into this fear, and I was disappointed. I was given one reason which seemed very logical. Then I was given the true reason that you fell in to the same thing that these other cities did. And that was unfortunate. And again, I was disappointed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Council. My name is Liz Reese. I was going to save that part to the end, but I actually wanted to commend you guys for canceling the event. It's something that I've attended for several years now, but seeing as this current state of affairs, I didn't think it was appropriate. I didn't think we as a city could, you know, accommodate the influx of people that would probably be coming from neighboring cities. And I think safety is always first. With that, and I'll focus later on, but I also wanted to reiterate again my ask to the police department to step up and really enforce the law against masked individuals with no ICE identification. Seeing as to how I had asked about this at the last meeting, it wasn't very long after that more reports of people impersonating ICE, Border Patrol started coming up. And so again, I will bring this up later again, but again, I do ask for that to be something that our city follows, and along with the city of Huntington Park and the LA City Fire Department. Another thing I wanted to bring up was, as I mentioned several times before, I am part of the AB 617 Community Steering Group, which focuses on lowering emissions in our regions of Southeast LA. There are several other communities, but I've been part of the Southeast LA group for the past couple years. And so I don't know if you guys got an email from Solache, our assembly member, asking for letters of support. I can forward that to you. But we're running out of funding. This program has been very successful. We've, as a community, as an environmental justice community, have been able to work with a lot of our air quality government officials closely to really mitigate and lessen the air pollution. We've been able to come up with and help them draft a few laws that focus on some of the industries that affect us locally. We've been able to put out some incentives for green spaces, for cleaner trucks. And so unfortunately, the money for that is drying up. And so we're trying to ask our legislature to put in more money, more funding to continue the program and keep doing the work that we've been doing for the past several years. But I'll be sending that later tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, good evening, City Council. My name is Alyssa Gomez. I am a case manager providing field-based mental health services to the Sella community, including Southgate, Maywood, Bell Gardens, to name a few. I'm here to speak on behalf of my clients who have been too fearful to leave their homes, regardless if they have documentation. Clients who carry the heavy burden of deciding what their survival requires, earning a paycheck or staying home to avoid deportation. I urge Southgate City Council to follow Huntington Park's lead in enacting a city ordinance that declares itself a sanctuary city, that refuses to divert local resources towards the ongoing ICE raids. Any statement from the City Council is meaningless without action following suit. Words do not provide protection or reassurance to this traumatized and terrified community. Moreover, as a city organizer, I implore the City Council to delegate resources to ensure food, water, and survival to its people. LA was built off of the backs of immigrant laborers. With a long history of a Latina population, I insist that Southgate City Council to invest and believe in this community the way that they originally did when they voted for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Okay, being none, I'm gonna close the audience and city Clerk, do we have any emails?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have a couple of them.
Well, we should.
The first one is from Mr. Mario Dominguez, who is City Council, to pursue a regional park open space district competitive measure A grants with this July to fund the planning and design of a splash pad at Southgate Park. He emphasized that this project could be fully covered through Measure A and CDBG funds without using any general fund. And noted that additional funding is available for future repairs and maintenance. He stressed the importance of giving local children a place to cool off during the summer and called on the council to add the splash pad to the city's capital improvement project. I also received one from Mr. Thomas Buckley, who expressed concerns that the Southgate City Clerk's office is ignoring his emails. He mentioned that on June 30th, he asked for a clarification on what constitutes a reasonable amount of time to fulfill a public record request, which was submitted over 4 months ago, but has received no response or documentation. He calls for the city to address the issue immediately and provide any updates regarding his request. We received one from Mr. Edgar Pelayo, expressing concern that the city council and staff are not treating the city's budget deficit with the urgency it deserves. He criticized the current approach of relying on residents to cover the shortfall through increased taxes, fees, and services that are cut, and called instead of structural reform to spending priorities and operations. He urged the council to consider all options, such as outsourcing, contract renegotiations, and reevaluating pay raises, and to prioritize the needs of Southgate residents over special interests. I have one more from Mr. Roberto Sanchez, expressing frustration over the city's financial situation and the poor condition of the Southgate's infrastructure, questioning who is responsible for the neglect. He also criticized the decision of spending money on horses, calling it a wasteful and poorly thought out idea, and demands to know who proposed and approved this. He stated that he has no confidence in long-serving council members and believes new competent leadership is needed to restore the city. And that was it, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. So with that, we're going to do a director's report. Steve?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. A couple items to bring up. First of all, we had our very first successful concert in the park last Thursday. We had Mariachi Divas playing here. We had an audience of about 450 show up for the event, so it was a good day overall. They are a great group to have out. They've got a huge following, not only in Southgate, but in other areas, so our residents enjoyed them greatly. Second of all, this Saturday, we have the grand opening of our newest park, the Urban Orchard. Everyone here is invited, along with anyone else online. It will take place at 10 a.m. on Saturday, July 12th. We will have an opening ceremony, and then we'll have different activities taking place out there. We'll have gardening classes, we'll have yoga on top of the knoll, we'll have some food and playground activities, so a bunch of different things happening on that day. But the event will start at 10 a.m. on that day. There is limited parking, so if you get there early, you'll get one closer. Otherwise, we will have a shuttle service from the UWS site just down the street. And the last one is our fun run will be taking place on July 19th. So if you want to come out, as our vice mayor has done in the past, and get wet and full of mud and foam and everything else, enjoy a 1 mile run with you and your family. Our city attorney's also done this before. It's a great family activity. It's just 1 mile of obstacle courses, water, mud, foam, and it's fun, Mayor. Come on out and enjoy the fun. We've already had almost 500 people sign up for it. So that's the 19th. Thank you.
I was out of town last year, but this year I'll be here. Thank you, Steve. Gabriel?
Madam Mayor, no updates from me.
Thank you. Luis?
Mayor, members of the City Council, and the public. Our staff continues to work on the budget and we continue to refine it. We hope to present an updated budget for consideration on July 22nd. That budget will include a schedule of changes from the version that was released publicly on the 24th. That's available online to download. We hope for a good outcome. So look forward to meeting with the ad hoc this week to further refine the budget further. That's all.
Thank you. John?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Nothing from Human Resources this evening.
Thank you. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and members of the public. I'll just address a few things. First and foremost, I want to talk about the fireworks show. I think it's important for the public to know that I bear the responsibility, or most of the responsibility, for canceling the fireworks show. As the individual that's responsible for the public safety of the city, it's important for me to evaluate circumstances that are going on at the time, the ability for us to respond to certain crises. And we didn't cancel 4th of July. We simply just canceled the 4th of July fireworks show. So we had some information going into the 4th of July holiday that there was potential for protests countywide. What that means is that we are required by mutual aid, if needed outside the city, to send half of our deployed resources into other cities, or possibly have to be here to address any civil unrest or protests in the city. 4th of July is typically the most busiest day of the year. We get calls for service constantly. I actually brought in more resources this year, just like I do every year. And it was a matter of me weighing the options that were available. And I'd rather get criticized up front for canceling it versus getting criticized after the fact if I was ill prepared to protect the city and the citizens. And again, we're living in unusual times right now, so doesn't fall on the council. That was my recommendation. I think it would have been terrible to see an incident happen if ICE visited here and there were some civil unrest. So out of the interest of the safety of the community, we decided to hold off on the fireworks show. It doesn't mean that the fireworks show is canceled indefinitely. It's just timing's everything. So again, I spoke to the city attorney and our staff, and we basically made that recommendation to the council that we're going to cancel it. So apologize. We did have a busy week for 4th of July. We did get less calls for service, although I do know that there were fireworks going off pretty consistently once the sun hit. But that's with the fireworks. I also did want to mention to the public that the day before the 4th of July, we had an incident that happened in Area 5 on Main Street, where the Southgate Police Department conducted an investigation where we seized 30 tons of fireworks, which is probably one of the largest seizures in Los Angeles County. We actually had to call the fire department out to assist us with this incident. We took 5 people into custody. It was a 14-hour event. There was about 34 personnel from fire department, LA County Fire, the police department and LA County Fire. We had 13 trucks, flatbed trucks that was responsible for taking it and taking it to a site in Castaic where it was safely disposed of. I apologize to the residents who were temporarily displaced for a number of hours, but we had to evacuate just based on the volatile nature of the fireworks. Thankfully, there was no explosions, and we were able to resolve that without any incident. We are going to ask for restitution during the criminal court proceeding to reimburse us for all the costs, because it was all hands on deck. Public Works came out and helped us. Mr. C's Towing came out and helped us. But the fire department, this went all the way up to the battalion chiefs, and they were very helpful. Thank the fire department for being there for us as well. Also wanted to, I can address Liz's comment when we get to that part of the agenda, but finally next week or next council meeting, I'll be presenting an agenda item. We were awarded $100,000 from the California Highway Patrol for a grant to enforce impaired driving, marijuana impairment, and that includes the purchase of a vehicle that we're going to be able to use for the traffic division. So I'll be presenting at the next city council meeting. These are the times where we aggressively go after competitive grants, and this was a good grant for us to get $100,000 to the police department. So that'll be presented at the next council meeting. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. And I just wanted to, piggyback on what you said about the fireworks that they were seized. I went to the house where they had the fireworks. It was unbelievable the amount of fireworks that they were there, and they were right on the open on the back on the back of the house, right in the open that anybody could throw something with fire, and that would have ignited the entire fireworks that were there. It was just unbelievable to see so many, and even the truck that it was full, the U-Haul truck that it was full. I never seen so many fireworks in my life like that. But thank you to the department for and again the department, the fire department, and everybody was in. They had to be moving all that just to get it out of the city. It took a full task to get it done. So thank you, and thank you to the public works and obviously to the fire department for getting all those fireworks out of the city, because that could have been a huge devastation. So thank you, Arturo.
Yes, Mayor, on the city administration front, our city manager, Rob Houston, was not able to be here today. He's on a much-needed vacation, but he will be back tomorrow to continue to run operations. On the public works front, we're still moving forward with a couple of exciting projects, the completion of the urban orchard, as Steve just talked about, but there's another park that we're also working on, and that's renovating Circle Park. We are on schedule to complete that construction at the end of this month. So hopefully we're pretty soon. We're celebrating another ribbon cutting, and then we're working on the residential resurfacing project. You saw the highlights that Carol presented on Hilltree, Pinehurst, and Industrial. Right now we're working on the Liberty Road, a long segment between California and Long Beach Boulevard. So a lot of construction work is still underway. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, City Attorney.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. 2 points. One, the public comment about the time that it's taken to respond to a certain Public Record Act request. It's a unique time period that the city has taken for this, but it involves reviewing electronic records, which themselves require quite a bit of review time. It is not a function of the city clerk's office or their failure to try to move these along. So I want to make sure that there's no confusion there. And the requesting party, I did send an email this afternoon letting them know my hope is to get them the documents within the next couple of weeks. So I think we're hopefully towards the tail end of this, and we'll be able to move on business as usual. That's point number one. Point number two, on what the chief of police said about the cancellation of the fireworks. Southgate had been the last city to cancel in this area. It was the intent of staff in the city to move forward with this. I think the decision was made at the beginning of last week, just a few days before. It was not intended to follow suit because other cities had done it, but really it was a reflection of the safety and the concerns that the chief of police had said. There is that risk of civil commotion that we've seen occur elsewhere, and the risk of having more people or less, depending on what would have happened. That entire uncertainty was a big factor in the security of this community, and it was really based on security issues alone. So that was why the decision was made. I wanted to back the chief of police on that decision there. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Treasurer.
Madam Mayor, no new items to report.
Thank you. City Clerk.
I have nothing to report. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Avalos.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, first of all, I want to thank the community that's out here in council chambers and those that are on YouTube. I understand the concern of canceling an event as the 4th of July. But given what happened yesterday in MacArthur Park, the audacity of these federal agents riding in horses going after the most treasured thing that we all have, which is the children. Very despicable, unacceptable. And as far as I'm concerned, I would not and will not put our community in harm's way. And if that means canceling an event like the 4th of July, I stand behind the decision I made because I made it for the residents. Unfortunately, I was not in town. I was in Portland representing our educators of the state of California. And let me tell you, our NEA president, Becky Pringle, is going back to Washington, D.C. and reminding all of these Congress people that took our money from our union and stabbed us in the back by agreeing to follow suit with our president and sign that bill. And they passed it. So we will not forget. The teachers don't forget. And let me tell you, never underestimate a public teacher, because you make us angry enough, we will make sure we come out with pork knives for our kids. And for me, it's our kids, it's our community, it's our seniors. And at the end of the day, it's our city. And we need to make sure we take it back. With that, I know that our community has been challenged in many ways recently, often in ways that go beyond even the hardships that we all faced during the COVID-19 pandemic. Through all of it, I want to take a moment to acknowledge and give credit to a local nonprofit, Compatrior. Although they may be very quiet and do things privately, I can personally and professionally attest that they are deeply committed to this community, Southgate. When ICE activities first intensified and families were experiencing real crisis, I reached out to Compatrior for help for our residents. Without hesitation, they responded, not just to me, but to anyone who needed assistance. They stepped up and provided essential food, resources to all local families. And in many cases, they even delivered those items directly to people's homes. I had the opportunity to work alongside them and help deliver some of these groceries myself, as I saw firsthand the compassion and dedication that they bring to this community through their mission. So I want to publicly thank Compatrior. I am deeply grateful for your efforts, and I want to publicly recognize the impact that you continue to make in our beautiful city of Southgate. Your quiet, consistent support has meant everything to so many individuals and families in Southgate. To our community, please know that I am just a phone call away, and those that have called, I've responded. If you or your family are in need of support, whether it's food, resources, or simply just need someone to listen to you, I will do my best to help and to connect you to someone who can. We are in this together, Southgate. And I hope I speak for my colleagues as well, are here to support you in any way that I can or in any way that they can. We will fall divided, but if we all stand together, we are more powerful. Always remember that. That's one thing I can tell you. We all have to support each other. We are not in this alone. We are in this fight together. Because he's not just coming for the immigrants. He's coming for all of us that don't look like him. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman now, Hurtado? Thank you.
Okay, so, yeah, the fireworks thing was last minute thing, but we had to really think about the safety. And again, I had reached out to the chief and I had mentioned to him how I had heard that other communities were closing up shop and therefore a lot of their residents might show. And that was a major concern. Um, and again, I realized that we had to weigh that into the impact to the vendors, but I think at the end, it was a no-brainer. We had to make the right decision. You know, when we went through COVID, that was something that, none of us had faced, right? And some people I see, they still wear masks and things like that. And because we're not out of the woods yet, there are always new viruses popping up and, we don't want to go through that again. And in that same thought of not going through this again, I remember sometime in the 80s, I remember I was doing some research and I ran across an event that took place back in 1954, which had a very crude name to it. It was called Operation Wetback. And President Eisenhower was the president at the time, and yeah, they were deporting everybody. They were deporting people of color, Mexicans, whether they were born here or not. And it was very bad. And I remember thinking at the time, I'm glad we'll never have to go through that again. And here we are. This thing is repeating itself. And you would think that we would learn from that, right? But there's nothing there, you know? And again, as Councilwoman Avalos mentioned, what we saw at a summer camp at MacArthur Park did not happen. When I think of my grandchildren go to summer camps just very much like that, how terrified they would have been seeing these people in military gear going information on horseback. And it has to be terrifying for anybody, a child, even an adult. And so during this time, I think a lot of communities are trying to respond to how to deal with these things. And, is there one really true answer to this? We're a municipality. We're at the, in terms of government, we're at the lowest level. You have the federal government, you have the state, you have the county, and then you have us. And when I reach out to our congressional people, and they're at a loss as to how we can combat this. When I reach out to the state folk, I reached out to Gavin Newsom's office, I reached out to Assembly member, to our state senator, and they're coming up empty. They're trying everything, lawsuits and everything like that. And then we look at our colleagues across the Southeast area, and we're all going through the same thing. Um, so, I was born here. I have my passport, but I shared the story. Back in 1980, I was coming back from Mexico, and I had overspent. So I was trying to go across the border from Mexico to Calexico, and all my documents were not acceptable. They said they were all fake. And I remember telling the officer, the only fake thing here is your education, because if you're supposed to be an expert in this and you're writing the further proof on my documents, I think you're the problem. And I think that's where we're all faced with. The fact that I carry my passport in my pocket doesn't make me safe. And, when I think about people post constantly, that they're in this city or in another city, that they're physically there, you know, even though they might not be here right now in Southgate physically, they're on everybody's mind. The terror they bring to people is real, and so people are afraid. I coach girls softball at the high school, and some of the girls are afraid to go. But they were born here too, but they're still afraid. And so again, I think when I think of all our options, we're trying everything. But remember, our authority, our power is limited. And I know some cities are trying to come up with some rules and policies that might not be enforced. In fact, I reached out to the district attorney's office and asked if this were to happen and we were to take this course of action, if we were to tell our officers to engage in these activities, can they be enforced? And the answer is no. And so, how we respond, we're going to have to respond, not by sitting on our hands, not by just talking. We're trying everything we can, but we know our limitations. And so again, I appreciate the passion that people have. You should do this, you should do this. And yeah, we should, but will it hold? And I can't imagine if one of our officers went out there and tried to engage with a federal officer, they're exposing themselves to being apprehended because federal agents will use their federal power. But again, it's very, very horrible times. And again, we're going to be talking about CDBG later on, but I mean, they're cutting back on our funding, and there's no question the state of California, we pay more into federal taxes than most states do, but we get back a whole lot less than we put in. That's just not right. And then they come and impose these kind of policies on it that terrify our communities. It's appalling. And again, I think all of us up here are concerned. We're trying to come up with what can work, and we're not giving up. And that's it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councilman Rios.
Good evening. Thank you, folks, all of you that have made your way here today to be with us tonight and be part of the agenda today. I want to thank you for your civic duty, for being here, you could be somewhere else, but you're here today to find out what's going on in our city. So thank you for being here. I want to thank the chief for giving the explanation. I think that's very helpful for the community to understand that dynamic. Have you, and I wanted to ask you, have we had any communication? Have they called us since or anything when they come in? Because since the last time you said there was no communication, have they asked for anything or ICE?
That's correct. We don't have a line of communication. Typically, what we've been seeing is if they are in the city, they're at a location within 3-4 minutes. We haven't gotten any calls per se in the last 30 days regarding that. So if they're in the city, that seems like it's not just here, but everywhere else. They seem to be in one location for a very brief time before we even get any calls.
And I know that the community is hurting. The immigrant community is hurting, and we all have come. Most of this country is made up of immigrants. I mean, let's face it, from the Irish, the Polish, the Italians. I mean, it's a tapestry of immigrants. They've all contributed to our great America that we have. It's sad that, they're always the scapegoat, and it's unfortunate, and it has to be terrorizing for the folks in our community that are undocumented. And I know that there are some issues. A number of them, for us, it's real simple. We can't wash our car, or we can't, we see the economic impact in the stores and certain places, even at the park. And I have to carry my ID too, because when I'm wearing shorts and things, I mean, we're all suspect, right? I mean, it's sad. It's a sad day. But I wanted to see what we could do. I know we're going to do a resolution, but I was thinking we have ARPA money still. I mean, and I know the food insecurity, people are not going to work.
That's federal money.
Well, it's federal money, but it was approved in the last administration. It's not this administration. And it was for food insecurity. And so I would want to look at that because, it's something that, we want to do something for that community that's hurting. And they are, because I know the YMCA was distributing food, or a number of other organizations, but it's not enough. A lot of people are hurting. And whatever we could do to help those folks that were hardworking, humble, contributing to the economy, paying taxes, and now they have to deal with deportation and the breakup of families. It's difficult. And so whatever we could do, I hope that we could find it within this council to find a way to help assist those families that are being separated and need some help now, because they have contributed to our economy. Let's face it, we all benefit from their cheap labor, their contribution, and
And that's what's made America great, really. The hardworking people, they're the backbone. I know my kids wouldn't work in some of the jobs that they're working. So let's be real about this. And so I just wanted to mention that. And it's sad because, I saw this, all heard about the beautiful bill, the beautiful big bill. I'm sorry, but, $140 billion for detention centers, for more ICE agents. What is that going to what is America going to look like in the next year or two? I mean, I'm just, it's frightening to, it's just devastating what's, hopefully the midterm elections that are coming up next year, we can kind of see if we can make a change there to change what's going on, or at least check what's going on at the federal level. Okay, let me bring it back home now. The last couple of weeks, Arturo, I had the truck guys I've seen they're going down my street, cutting trees down, and I'm a tree guy, and I think they're the what in Spanish is called pulmones, the lungs of our community, and I see a lot of trees coming down, beautiful trees that are part of the character of our community. And I asked a while back, I know that the reason why we cut them because they're old, there's a liability they might fall, but I think they came to my house again, and luckily I was there, because if I wasn't there, they would have cut down my tree if I was gone a day or two. And it's sad. How could this be happening? Do the residents have anything to say in it? Maybe their sidewalks a little bit elevated, but they don't mind. I mean, I want my shade. I want my tree. I love the trees I have around my house. So. And I know some of you lost your tree. Well, anything we could do to protect the character. I know on Long Beach Boulevard, we cut a number of trees that were part of that Long Beach street that made it so great. And now we have these trees that don't grow that much. I mean, come on.
I agree with you, but if you walked Long Beach Boulevard between Southern and Long Beach, it's a health hazard to be able to walk, because the trees have caused so much damage that it's really high. So you literally have to go around or walk into the street to be able to get through. So
Yeah.
let's
see where we can find a balance.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so I just want to make a point. Let us know how many trees are we cutting down. Gee, I've been asking.
Yes.
Let's hold off a little bit. Let's go slower. I mean, gee, I don't know, but something. I
Yeah.
like trees.
Councilmember Rios, if I can just address your concerns quickly. So maybe about a year and a half ago, when we were experiencing issues with a lot of the larger trees coming down, there was a lot of claims coming in. There was a safety issue. So at that time, we commissioned a hazardous assessment review of all of our trees. We came up with a list of the priority trees for removal based on actual hazards and reviewed by an arborist. So those that we're removing now is that last phase of all those trees that we consider potentially hazardous that could come down during a rain or a heavy event. But once we get through this list, we don't have anything else on schedule for removal.
Thank you.
So you're safe.
Thank you. That's all.
For now.
I have a question, Art. If I can ask a question regarding that.
Hold on a second. Let's continue with Councilman, and then I'll come back to you.
Yeah, I just need to, and I apologize, I should have given this earlier. People needing essentials, Southeast Leadership Network has a number, and a lot of people have been reaching out to them. I didn't bring my reading glasses, so I'm pretty sure it's good though. 562-842-6070 or 323-804-6639. So I'm going to repeat it again. 562-842-6070 or 323-804-6639. So I'm going to do my little Spanish thing here. I didn't take Spanish in high school
They're
for no reason,
translating.
right? But for the people at home, can they hear you at home? No. So, por favor, para la gente que ocupa esenciales, se llama Southeast Leadership Network. I don't know how to translate that part, so It's 562 842 6070 o 323 804 6639. Una vez más, 562 842 6070 o 323 804 6639.
We have that information
Yeah,
also in
but
our
people-
website.
Yeah, and I've been posting it on social media, so
Yeah.
hopefully.
Madam
people
Mayor,
read
if
it.
I
Yes, go
may,
ahead.
just because I am here in the community, maybe when Rob comes back, we can have a recorded line for people to call in and then be able to disseminate to different organizations to be able to provide them the assistance.
Absolutely. Yes.
Again, just a simple number where they can call,
Mhm.
say, I'm in need of XYZ, this is my name, my phone number, someone please call me, and then we will disseminate it to the various organizations
right.
that we're all working with.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So yes, regarding July 4th, thank you, Chief, for that explanation. I think it was a hard decision to make. I think it was the right decision. It's always important to always put our community's safety first, and it was what we needed to do at the time. So thank you for providing that explanation. I did want to just provide some details regarding what we have been doing. I know it kind of touched on this in prior council meetings. I am a volunteer with the Southeast Leadership Network. We have a few volunteers here that are part of the Sela Kiwanis group. We do weekly food boxing events. So we box. The last event, we boxed over 300 food boxes that are distributed to families in need. We are focusing currently on undocumented families. We have a list that has grown to over 150 families that are all through the Southeast Los Angeles area. So from all the way, from Vernon all the way into the Linwood area, we are distributing food. I've as of yesterday, last night, I delivered, 5 boxes of food in the Southgate area that were distributed to families who reached out to us and who said that they needed it. So I wanted to make sure that I thank the nonprofits that are finding the resources that are being able to be provided out there. A lot of these nonprofits don't want us to mention their name because they do receive federal funding. They don't want to be highlighted for it, but I just do want to thank them. I know they're listening, so thank you for that help. We have local heroes like La Línea, Francisco on Tweedy Boulevard. He's out there supplying our businesses with signs to put out on their businesses that says, this is a private business. No ICE is allowed to enter. These are little things that everybody is doing. Every person is out there trying to do their little part. And I think that that's how we can succeed in this event that we're going through right now, because it truly is unprecedented. Like, we've never gone through something like this where we're being attacked in this manner, where it is, I've never lived through it. And I know, Gil Hurtado, council member, has given an example of it in the past. We've seen it, I read about it during World War II with the internment camps in Japan, the Japanese American internment camps. But this is a lot of things that we're dealing with that I've never had to, live through. So it's really going to take, a bunch of people getting together and saying, we have to do this together. There's a young lady who reached out to me who said, hey, I have a family who just wants to be able to help out and distribute food. If you can get me the food, I can deliver it. She found a list of people who wanted to be delivery drivers. We communicated to the Southeast Leadership Network, and they are now part of the delivery drivers that go out and make those deliveries. So thank you to the Familia Lopez Community Support Group, who is connected with the Southeast Leadership Network. So Melissa, Gomez, thank you for being here today. If you have a list of families who need that support, provide that to me. They will be added to that weekly list that we would make deliveries to on a weekly basis. We can do that today, and we can add that to them. You know, there's a lot of things that that are very confusing, and I was talking to the mayor earlier today. At my day job, I'm a financial crimes investigator. I investigate money laundering cases, and I've always, what I do is I follow the money, right? That's just what I do in theory, and I always have to ask myself, what's the why and how things are flowing. And 140 million dollars in this big beautiful bill is going to be going to this new ICE agents being developed, or hiring of new ICE agents. And I started to ask myself, why would we invest so much money into this program? Well, it's very simple. The biggest donors and the biggest investors in the Trump campaigns are the investors and the owners of the Geo Group, who are the owners of the incarceration camps, that are the detention camps where the undocumented people are being housed. Like, it's just follow the money. They're saying that they're incarcerating illegal and criminals. In Los Angeles, in the month of June, 1,700 people were arrested that were undocumented. That's it. And the federal government spent $30 million to arrest 1,700 people. $30 million. That's an insane amount of money to promote fear and to get 1,700 people off the street. But really, only 8% had a criminal background, like a violent criminal background. That number is so small. Is that worth the investment? Like, if you're a Republican and you feel that you want to make government small and you hate wasteful spending and you are a supporter of Doge, how can you support this kind of spending? I don't understand it. I don't know how you can say with a straight face that you support this president and this administration, and say that you support this type of spending and this type of use of funding. Makes no sense to me to terrorize a group of people, spending $30 million, forcing the LA city to spend $20 million of police to have police out there for riot enforcement, to then not even counting the millions of dollars that's being lost by the businesses that are no longer being shopped at, by the restaurants that are no longer being eaten at. This is an attack not just on those undocumented people. It's an attack on the Hispanic money, the Latino fortunes that are being made. That's what it's an attack at. They want that transition of power and wealth going back to where it was, because they're upset of where it is. They're upset at the power that our voice and our dollar has gotten. They are upset of it. And what we need to do is continue to stay together. We have enough people in this country right now telling us that we're animals, that we're rapists, that we're drug addicts. Why do we come in here and rip each other apart? We have enough people doing it outside. I'm looking forward to the day when we come in here and tell each other the good things that we do, the good stories about us. Look at the accomplishments that this city has done together. We have a Hispanic city council. We have the longest sitting councilwoman is a Latina who fought for our students. We have an assistant city manager, director of public works, Art Cervantes, a Latino, community development department, Gabe, a Latino, a finance director, a Latino from a city of Southgate the jewel of Southeast Los Angeles. Look at the faces that are here. We're a Latino-run community. Be proud of this. This is what we've been able to build. When we first got here, if you ever get a chance, go into the city manager's office. There's a photo that's on the wall as soon as you walk in of the old council that used to be here in the 50s. Didn't look like this. It did not look like this. Be proud of what we've been able to build as a community. Let's stop tearing each other apart and let's help build each other up, because together we are powerful. Together we are powerful, and they're afraid of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice Mayor. Okay. First of all, thank you all for being here, and we're all here for. I'm sure it's for item number 2, and we'll talk about that later. But I just want to thank you for coming out and for speaking out. But again, you know, and I'm not going to repeat everything that my colleagues had just said. This, I concur with every single one of them. We're here to work together, and like everyone said, as long as we continue working together, and as long as we all collaborate and represent, and also take care, most important of all, we need to take care of those families who are in need right now. And that's what we're doing. Each council member here, we are taking care of the families that have reached out to us and they have asked for help. Again, we cannot say names. We cannot, because of the, they're scared. And the promise to them is, you let us know what you need. And we promise that we're not going to give no addresses, no phone numbers, no names out there. And the organization, what is it, national? What the Southeast Leadership? They've been working in providing food, and I want to thank them because they've been very helpful. In this organization, they're providing the food. No questions asked. We just called them and asked them, I need a couple of bags. As long as we have, the people that go and bag them, we go and do it and we go deliver. But I think it's working together. We are being targeted. We are being targeted. Latinos are being targeted. And this is when we all need to stand together. And I think that by taking care of each other, because we can get stopped anytime. I'm an immigrant. I was born in Michoacan. I was raised in the state, but I was born in Mexico. I'm here representing my community, my people, and that has always been my passion of helping people. And each of our council members, we're here to represent. We are here to make sure that all of you have a better life in our community. These are times that we need to stick together. And we need to understand that the need, it's out there. You have people that need help, please let us know so we can take care of them. I know that Councilman Ramirez mentioned ARPA. We cannot use ARPA funds because they're federal funds, but there are other ways that we can help. But just remember one thing, that we're here to represent you. We are here to hold hands, and I think that this is a time of need. This is the time that we all need to come together. Instead of pulling us apart, we need to come together, Because up in Washington, they're going to keep doing this for several years more. And they're saying that it's going to get worse before it gets better. Let's just look up for each other. Because right now, it's the people who don't have their documents. Later, it could be me. I'm a naturalized citizen. Who knows what the person up there is thinking of doing, especially if they have the majority in the Senate and Congress. We don't know what's going to happen. But right now, I want to thank my colleagues for the work that they have done and for their continued support that they've been giving the families out in our community. And with that, I'm just
Madam Mayor,
yes.
may I just add something? Because I think it bears saying. I also want to make sure that I thank some of the members of our staff that have gone way out of their way to also be very supportive during this time. You know, Steve Costley, our Parks and Recs director, has made himself available during for food distribution events. He's given himself his time, and I want to make sure that this city is very inclusive. I know we're going through a time right now where we're highlighting the strife and the difficulties of the Latino, but I want to make sure that I highlight that our staff here and the people that we have representing in our city all have a heart that I think is mindful of what we're going through, and I want to make sure that I highlight that. And also John and of course our chief is very sensitive to the fact that of what we're going through. So thank you all for what you guys have done and in the
All right.
conversations that we've had as well.
Absolutely, and even our city manager. So, well, thank you also. But with that, please come join us Saturday for the ribbon cutting of the new park here in Southgate, the Urban Orchard. It's a beautiful park, and I think that there is a mirror in that park that tells you the history of Southgate, and you will see the change that it has been occurring throughout the decades here in Southgate. Throughout a whole century, you're going to see that. And this is where we're at right now. So with that, I'm going to close this, and we are going into consent calendar. So with that, City Clerk, I am so sorry. You wanted to say something.
It's okay, Madam Mayor. I just wanted a little clearance regarding the tree trimming, only because we might get calls tomorrow. Councilman Rios said that he may have not allowed any tree trimmings happening. You had stopped it. Is that something that our residents can do? I know that we have
Just
we can just-
if I could just clarify, so there's maintenance right now includes tree trimming, which is something that we're performing on all our trees, and we're continuing with those. We do have residents on occasion that don't want trees to be trimmed aggressively, but we continued as a normal course of business, as that's the appropriate thing to do. In terms of trees that need to be removed that are considered hazardous, we're continuing with those particular removals as well. So if we get a request from a resident not to remove a tree, what we usually do is we will respond by assessing it one more time to see if in fact it needs to be removed or not. But if the arborist deems it needs to be removed because of its condition, then we would move forward with that, and then we would plan for planting another tree.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, go ahead. And we are in consent calendar.
Agenda items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are consent calendar items.
At this time, okay, anyone that wants to speak on any of this item, please come forward. And we are items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And 8. Thank you. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Hi, good evening, Mayor Davila and council members. My name is Julie Morales, and I want to begin by sincerely thanking the city council, the city staff, and everyone who worked to bring this resolution forward. I recognize the time, thought, and care that go into shaping a resolution like this, and I truly appreciate this critical step to speak out against this inhumane, arbitrary, and unlawful immigration enforcement. As a lifelong Southgate resident, I attended Victoria Elementary School, Southgate Middle School, and I'm a Southgate High School alumni. And I am now a homeowner here in Southgate. I was raised here. I had a wonderful upbringing here, and this moment holds great significance for me. I had the privilege of living in many cities, both in the United States and abroad. However, as I've grown older and the time has come for me to start a family, I've decided to return to this city to build our future with my husband because I love this community, because I believe in its people, and because Southgate is my home. It is why I'm here today to speak on this important item, at least to be part of this legislative history as a starting point to be here with our community. This resolution is a step in the right direction, and it matters. It sends a message that our city values the dignity, the rights, and the safety of immigrant families, our beautiful neighbors. But I come to you tonight with a deep concern. I'm here as someone who's a US citizen. I'm lucky to be a US citizen, but I'm lucky to be here speaking on this experience without fear of ICE retaliation, at least for now. ICE, like you mentioned, just received $140 billion in their budget. That's more than any other federal agencies. With that kind of funding, their reach will only continue to grow. And I am deeply concerned for the safety of our city. I've seen the fear firsthand. I've seen ICE agents near the railroad tracks where families walk to get to our local grocery store in the afternoons. And I've seen them at the car wash where people work hard to take care of other people's cars, including mine. I've seen the nopales or the cactus vendor, always polite, always respectful. His clothes were always pressed as to signal the dignity and respect of his endeavor, thrown down to the ground with 4 masked men around him and unmarked vehicles in my grocery store. I will never forget the fear and worry in his eyes when a bystander filmed him, hoping to reach his family. He did not come home that night. These are our neighbors. These are our Southgate residents. I myself, a woman, worry that a masked person will come up to me and throw me in an unidentified vehicle. What would I do then? Our community deserves protection, and I ask the city not to leave any stone unturned in an effort to keep everyone safe, regardless of their immigration status.
Thank you. Okay, let's okay, let's use the fingers instead. I mean, just instead of clapping, so we can move forward. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. My name is David Rodriguez. I won't be quite as eloquent as my first time doing any type of public speaking, but I did want to just share some concerns. I'm relatively new to the city. You just heard my wife. She brought me over. I'm happy to be here, happy to be part of the community. I've seen the great things that this community could do, but I am a little disconcerted at the fact that we're not quite living up to the city's vision statement, which, you know, I just had a chance to familiarize myself with today. The statement says that we envision a thriving, safe, inclusive community. I don't even have to go any further than that. We're not there today. This community has been plagued by federal agents that are that are masked and in unidentified vehicles, taking hardworking individuals that are not creating any type of blight or crime. They're just here to better their community the way that we are. And they're being taken away against their will. That is not a thriving city. That's a city that is encouraging blight by having fear being stoked within the community, by preventing our economy from growing because you have the car wash around the corner that's been shut down for days. You have people not going to the local grocery store because they're in fear of being deported. As far as inclusivity, How is that inclusive when the majority of our population here comes from Latino or Hispanic communities? It's just not enough to only do words or a statement. Here, let me get the proper. A resolution isn't enough. I think really what we need is an ordinance that would help really put some teeth behind any type of action for the city. Just sitting here and listening to all of you, it seems like we have the support. So I don't understand why we can't take a step further than a resolution, which is merely words. On top of all of that, again, just sitting here listening to you, I've come up with a few ideas off the top of my head. Why not do an ordinance that requires no city funds or officials or employees to be deputized by ICE or any type of federal or any type of funding at all going to that agency? Like the federal government can't force you to do that. So why aid it? Or why not take the step further to be an advocate for the residents of your community? On top of that, yeah, the fear, going to the aspect of fear, it's something that impacts all of us, including US citizens like myself. I have, again, a family that is of mixed status, elderly people that are US citizens afraid to go out because they're afraid that they're going to be attacked and assaulted by these individuals. So again, I urge
Thank
you to
you.
do something more.
Thank you. Liz, can you hold on a second? Yeah. You want to take a 2-minute? I need to. Okay, we're going to take a 3-minute, okay?
No worries.
Anybody that wants to.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, we're missing our city attorney. Oh, he's back there. Okay. Go ahead, city clerk. Go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, Liz Ruiz on Kaufman. Yeah, I really wanted to thank you for this resolution. I also agree. I think it's a first good step to really acknowledge the work that all of you guys have been doing behind the scenes. I know this isn't an easy time, and considering the funding that's been allocated federally, it's only going to get worse. We can all assume that. We're all in fear. I'm in fear as a daughter of immigrant parents. Um, there's been the question of birthright citizenship in the air, whether that's going to be contended, whether it's going to be retroactive. There's the issue of, people that are naturalized. My husband is naturalized, and so where does that put us? And that's their plan, to instill fear in our communities, to instill fear in democratic, majorly democratic areas, as I've said before, and we all know. And so I really think that we as a city need to be on an offensive. I think that we need to really prepare for anything that can, escalate. And I'm here to again ask for, at the very least, for our police to follow suit with what Huntington Park has done, with what the Los Angeles Police Department has done, and really protect us, because they're here to protect and serve. We are here, as I mentioned before, we have been creating a community police relationship. They've been present at a lot of community events, and I'd hate for us to lose that trust. And, there's already people that have lost that trust, people that have called in abductions where these masked people don't have anything identifying them. And I don't agree. I don't agree that we should assume they're ICE related, because we don't know, because there have been several instances of impersonators taking advantage of this. There could be, bounty hunters. We don't know who these people are. And I don't think it's safe to assume that they're going to be federal officials. If there is a chance that they're not, then I think we, like I said earlier with the fireworks, we should take any precaution. And it is common sense that, even federal agents need to be held accountable to the law. As I said before, there's been several instances where they've been taped not, driving carelessly. And even if they are marked, they should be held to the law. It is there shouldn't be question about that. And it's not going to be pitting, our local police against federal agents, because everybody has to do their job, and everybody should be having proper protocols that they should be following. And if things escalate, then I pretty much doubt they will. But there's processes for that, and you have our back as a city and our support. So let's do that resolution, and let's do Sanctuary City.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Southgate City Council. I'm also, besides being born in Mexico, lived my whole life in Southgate here. And I'm here to support the motion to pass a resolution opposing unlawful immigration enforcement tactics. Now, I agree that this is a good first step, but we can do better. We need a sanctuary ordinance, just like they passed yesterday at Huntington Park City Council meeting. The city needs to be clear on what actionable steps it's going to take to protect its community and enforce this resolution. We need to ensure our local law enforcement does not share data or collaborate with ICE in any manner, that city resources are not used for federal immigration enforcement. We demand that the city stand behind its community, and there's so much you can do. We need to document and report violations done by ICE, a directive to monitor and verify ICE activity in the city. I saw that this bill will have no fiscal impact, but I say we need to put money where our mouth is and prove we mean business. We need a relief package for those who can't work due to the constant ICE raids. People need food to pay rent, resources. HP has already set up a hotline and page, HP With You, to help those affected, where they can call and get food, relief, and legal aid. I say, why can't we do that too? Downey is considering a relief package at their meeting tonight as well. The fight doesn't end here. ICE is now the highest funded law enforcement agency in US history. It has more funding now than the entire military budget of Italy and several other countries. We need to prepare and we need to organize for the long term. And that means taking real steps and action and proving that we mean business. We saw how they basically intimidated us at MacArthur Park. How long until that happens here on Tweedy Boulevard, on Southgate Park? We need to take a stand because the whole country is watching how LA is reacting to these violent raids. And are we going to show them that we lied down like dogs, or that we fought this unjust and cruel system and we won't stand for it? The time is now for each of us, regardless of our nationality or documentation status, to come together united as working, oppressed people and end this war on immigrants. Thank you.
We didn't get
Can
your
we have
name.
your name for the record?
Sandra.
Sandra, thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.
Hello to the City Council. Buenas tardes a todos mis vecinos. De
Can
la
we
ciudad
have
de
your name
Southgate.
for the record,
Yes,
please?
my name is Harut Solórzano. I am a resident of Compton, but although I am a resident of Compton, that doesn't mean that I didn't also grow up here in Southgate. I have my doctor's appointments here in Southgate. I've actually worked in Southgate myself. I am currently an organizer here in the Southeast LA region. We've been out and about every single day pretty much over the last month and a half since we've been essentially invaded by federal immigration and customs enforcements. We are seeing something that unprecedented in our time. We are seeing families torn apart. We are seeing our communities in fear. We are seeing, as somebody mentioned earlier, a story where we have a person who is tackled down to the floor in front of a supermarket that people are going to buy food. So now we can't even go to our local grocery stores without living in a fear of getting attacked by Customs and Border Patrols. So what I'm asking here today is a little bit more than words. Yesterday, the City Council in Huntington Park, as it was mentioned, passed a city ordinance making it a point that law enforcement should not work with any type of immigration enforcement of any kind. And I believe that we can also do that not only in this city, but also in my city of Compton, my other city of Linwood, and every other place. We need to put these measures in place to protect our families, our citizens, like I said, our neighbors, regardless of whether we live here in Southgate. We could do commerce in Southgate. We come to restaurants in Southgate. We are scared. We are worried for our families, for our friends, for our neighbors. Again, I'm asking you guys to do something more than just condemn these illegal raids that are occurring in our communities. We're asking you guys to also take care of the people that have been affected by this, that haven't been able to work. Obviously, you guys are doing grocery deliveries, and that's perfectly okay, but we have to start thinking these people are not able to pay their rent. You might have a homelessness crisis in the coming weeks, in the coming months. People are not able to pay rent. People aren't able to go out and do their usual commerce. This is a big issue that is only going to get worse with $140 billion more coming towards us in federal funding for ICE. So I ask you guys, please help us get ICE out of LA, ICE out of Southgate, and everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Christian, and I'm a resident of Downey, but I'm here to stand in solidarity with my neighbors in Southgate and the undocumented community. The majority of my extended family lives in Southgate under your leadership, and my cousin was actually brutally kidnapped by ICE. He was taken in the parking lot of the courthouse as he was going to attend his immigration court hearing. They came in an unmarked car, and they took him and shackled him, and upon capturing him, they took pictures with him and posed as if he was some hunting trophy. We didn't even know where he was until days later he showed up in the system 300 miles away from home, and now his son has to grow up without his father. ICE has been terrorizing families, separating children from their parents, instilling fear in people just trying to live every day just like the rest of us, to the point that they are too afraid to go to work or to leave their homes. They are canceling doctor's appointments that could be crucial to their well-being. Many are left with the impossible choice of going to work and risk being kidnapped or staying home and falling behind on rent. Our undocumented community members deserve your protection. I urge you to adopt the resolution opposing the evil, unlawful, and immoral immigration enforcement tactics that we have seen all over Los Angeles and in Southgate. I'm also here to demand a sanctuary ordinance and a relief package for families suffering under the threat of ICE. Yesterday, we saw the city of Huntington Park approve this ordinance, so we know it is possible here too. As the elected officials of this city, it is your job to represent us and serve us. So listen to us when we say, ICE out of Southgate. Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Good evening, council members. My name is Marlene Gonzalez. I grew up a few streets from here on Broadway and State. I went to State Street Elementary, and now with diligent work, I am a math interventionist aide at State Street Elementary, where I had the pleasure to meet Mr. Hurtado during one of our community events. I'm here because as someone that works in the school system, after these raids began, we have seen a drop in attendance. And I'm pretty sure it's nothing new. Sorry. It's very disheartening to see that my children, my daughter's friends, are no longer in school because they're either undocumented themselves or their parents are. So what I'm pleading from you today is, I know that our police officers cannot go against federal agents, but they can uphold the law. Ask for warrants. Ask to see badges. That's all we're asking for. Make sure that they have the correct documentation, if so, to attain those people, wherever it is that they're kidnapping and taking away. So we're not asking for a battle between Southgate PD and federal agents. We're not. We're asking for them to be held responsible, to have the proper documentation for whoever they're trying to attain, so that my children, because they're my children, can go to school without fear. I'm working the summer program, and guess what? A third that were signed up have chosen not to attend. So we need to help our community. We need to help our children. So I'm asking you to please help my community, help my students, your children. So with that, we do need to make sure that Southgate does the same thing that HP did and make it a city where ICE is no longer welcomed. So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, hello. My name is Yvette. I'm a local community member from Southgate. I have grown up here, and I can attest that Latino culture is woven into the fabric of this city. It's in the local events, schools, businesses, and city itself. This city is made up of Latinos and immigrants, and it is the city council's moral duty and obligation as representatives of Southgate to protect your community members and do more to ensure their safety. How can we continue to go about our days or attend local events when members of our community are being kidnapped, brutalized, and separated from their families? This is a step in the right direction, but it is not enough. Neighboring cities like HP, Bell, Cudahy, and many others have been mobilizing and fighting back against ICE, and it is shameful and disappointing that Southgate isn't doing more. There needs to be more outreach providing and distributing know your rights posters for businesses and know your rights red cards to people. It should not just be on organizations or individuals to spread this information. I saw a poster out here when I walked down the hallway, and that's great, but I feel like it not being in other local businesses is like just really hard to see. I want to go myself to like go to the businesses, but it should not just be on the individuals. There needs to be more financial and practical assistance for families impacted by these raids. I know that was mentioned, but kind of like we said in other cities like HP, there's more information and more access to that information. I know there's been posts online. I know you are all saying there's organizations, but I feel like us as a city need to be doing more. And there also needs to be more transparency about Southgate PD and the fire department's role in these situations and how they can protect their constituents. Maybe also doing know your rights meetings. I know cops and they've kind of told me maybe like the protocols they have to follow. And I feel like that's important to know when we can call like SGPD and what our rights are with that, with them as well. And there also needs to be actions to back up the words, like making Southgate a sanctuary city. I urge you to approve this resolution and do more to support your community. Thank you.
Next speaker.
My name is Adrian Gonzalez, and I have been a resident of Southgate my whole life, and I wanted to plead that we follow Huntington Park's example and make Southgate also a sanctuary city. I'm a mental health worker, and my clients are scared to go outside, documented or not. Being a sanctuary city and having the police department protect us from masked individuals that are pretending to be federal agents would do us a great service. I also want to speak on behalf of my partner, who is here today and cannot, due to fear of being detained, whether being a citizen or not. My partner, who works for LAUSD as a TK aide, who has seen firsthand how numerous parents fear of everything going on to bring their kids to school or picking them up early when they hear that raids are happening a block away from the school. Having to have had meetings on how to address a new drill, not just the usual fire/earthquake drills, but now this. When will it stop? It has not stopped for those at the grocery stores, outside churches and schools, and we need to do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Alice, and again, my family's been in Southgate, business and residence since '67, born and raised in Texas. So you guys have not seen bigotry. I've really seen it. And I lived through the '50s when, as Councilman brought up, they would just stop you on the drive onto your property. Immigration was very powerful then. And we're in an unfortunate situation right now. But the only thing I say, I mean, I know you're going to pass this resolution. One, you don't need to call yourself a sanctuary city. You're just putting a target on your back. You're poking the bear if you go through that sanctuary city and call yourself a sanctuary city. That's not the way to do it. Don't do that. Although I hear people say, oh, do that. No, I mean, that's my opinion. Secondly, just be careful how you word that resolution. I mean, I'm sure you're consulting with the attorney on what you should say. Again, I think they've pretty much, I mean, to the extent you look at the other cities, and you get people coming from other cities telling us here in Southgate what you guys should do. They're coming from, Compton and other cities. You need to, I really think you need to be careful in how you word that resolution. I mean, I'm sure your city attorney would know that, certain things, and our law enforcement is not going to go up against federal agents. And people shouldn't expect that. And I also don't think my tax money should go on giving legal advice to free legal aid for for people. There are so many organizations that are offering the services that people can get legal aid. I mean, different charities. I mean, Catholic Charities is doing it. So, you know, I, did- sorry, I don't want to pay for it. You know. And food giveaways, I think that's great, but what happened? You guys you're neglecting senior citizens now too? You know, that's for some people that are perfectly healthy but anyway, again, yeah, I would be careful I'm totally against declaring this a sanctuary city. You're just putting a target on the back of this city. Thanks.
Is there anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close the audience. Do we have any emails?
We have a few emails for the different items on the consent calendar. The first one is for item number 2. This is from Cristina Castaneda. Expressed her support for this item, urging the city manager and city attorney to consider actions taken by nearby cities to support immigrant communities. She highlighted initiatives such as Know Your Rights workshops, food delivery programs, and sanctuary city ordinances. She also called for stronger measures from the Southgate PD to verify the identity of individuals detained in our community and to ensure public safety. Again, item number 2, this one is for Iris Verduzco. Thank you. She urges the City Council to adopt the resolution addressing recent immigration enforcement activities and to take stronger actionable steps to protect the civil rights and well-being of all community members. She calls for a clear direction from both Council and the Southgate PD on how they oppose unlawful immigration tactics and build trust with residents. She suggests the city look to Huntington Park's recent passed sanctuary ordinance as a model. This one is for item number 5 from Mr. Edgar Pelayo, expressing support for the city's ongoing IT infrastructure improvements, highlighting the importance of effective communication and service delivery in today's digital age. He hopes that these upgrades will enable the return of a call-in feature for the city council and commission meetings to enhance civic participation and strengthen community engagement. He also requested the update from staff on the status of the call-in and Zoom feature discussed at previous meetings. Another item, number 5, from Mr. Mario Dominguez. He urged City Council to bring back the presenter of the Technology Master Plan to assess and fix the city's failing cyber system, which continues to disrupt the City Council meetings. He questioned who truly benefits from the Technology Master Plan, expressing concern that it serves only city staff and not the residents. He criticized the repeated technical failures as a sign of poor management and called the council to prioritize fixing the system so the public can reliably access meetings without interruption. The last one on item number 7, Mr. Mario Dominguez commended the City Council for contracting out the vacant street and sewer superintendent position, calling it the right approach. He emphasized that outsourcing hard-to-fill roles, especially in public works and parks and recreation, helps the city avoid unsustainable salary increases amid serious financial deficits. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, what's the wish of council?
Madam Mayor, if I may, I do appreciate the comments from the public. Marlene, I see you and I feel your heart because as an educator, I've seen it firsthand when they don't come to school. So do know that I understand you, and all we can do is just be supportive of the students that are there and letting them know that we're going to consistently show up for them. With that, I have a question for our city attorney. Given the fact that a lot of other organizations and governmental agencies are doing this, maybe it's something we can look into, explore, to look into filing a lawsuit against any of these federal agencies for not following due process and for violating all of its citizens' constitutional rights, and for not following protocol to be able to come on to our city and provide adequate documentation to our police officers, letting them know we're here for this person, this is who we are.
Councilwoman Avalos, if I could speak to that. I'm excited about a lawsuit that has already been filed in the United States District Court on that precise point. It's a lawsuit that is brought by the United Farm Workers, raising the damage caused to the agricultural community. It's filed on behalf of ACLU, on behalf of all immigrants. It's filed by public counsel, also on behalf of all immigrants. Churla, which is a huge immigrant rights nonprofit, is a part of this litigation. And the lawsuit seeks to enjoin the federal government based on the federal government's own regulations and laws from undertaking the activities that the public has spoken about tonight. Searches without probable cause, racial profiling, stopping individuals with a failure to identify themselves or by covering their masks. And the lawsuit, if it's successful, seeks to obtain a permanent injunction against these unlawful activities. So I think that if the city of Southgate were to join in, we'll look for that. We'll look to see if there's a way for us to intervene in that suit. But I think that the core suit, it's a suit that is brought by 11 different attorneys. So there's a lot of firepower in that suit. The resolution speaks to supporting that kind of litigation. I think that's very smart to do in that respect. And, I think, that's one of the things that we'll be following up with is monitoring that and seeing where and if the city should find a meaningful role to play in that suit. But I do think that the right course, the smart course of action is to seek federal relief. I want to lastly say this is that I don't want to comment on what Huntington Park did or didn't do, but the state of California back in 2017 passed the California Values Act. It's a statute that's codified in the government code that prevents law enforcement and agencies from working with ICE, with limited exception. So that's already on the books right now, and it's applicable to every single state and agency up and down there. Also, the resolution, yes, it's symbolic, but it does plant our foot. It plants our stake here. The real debate here is not whether the ICE is going to be violating a municipal ordinance, because the Constitution allows for a supremacy clause. So no state, for example, is able to impact a federal law that Congress has already passed. And so ICE is governed by federal law, it's governed by federal procedures, and the lawsuit that I'm talking about is one that says ICE apparently, allegedly, is violating their own federal procedures. So the focus there should be on any bringing suit in federal court based on the very laws that govern ICE and Homeland Security. The lawsuit targets not just Homeland Security; it targets the U.S. Customs Border (CPB). It targets the FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office, obviously other agencies that are involved in the immigration. So it is a very broad, across the board, comprehensive suit. I encourage the public to track that because that's going to be a landmark suit. Probably make its way up to the Supreme Court, my guess. But it is a very important lawsuit that's pending right now, already brought.
So the reason I'm bringing this up Again, it's the federal government. They've allocated all of these billions of dollars. They've terrorized our city of Southgate. Our economic development, if it was thriving, it is now non-existent. Student attendance is extremely low. So for me, it would be filing a suit for the city of Southgate for its residents. So once this president is out of office, we can have a claim to get reimbursed for the damage that they've done to this community. Emotionally, economically, psychologically, health-wise, it is unimaginable that I know right now we feel like, what else can we do? But for me, it would be, let's explore that so that we can tag along these lawsuits so that we can recover and have that money for our future to make sure that those residents who were affected will be able to at least get compensated in some way, shape, or form. Because somebody in that family is a U.S. resident, is a U.S. citizen. And if there was a good immigration reform, everyone that was picked up could have already been a U.S. citizen. It's ridiculous that it will take you 25 years for you to petition your parent or a brother or a sister. That is excessive. So to me, if we could explore that, look into that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so on June 29th, I sent you an email and Rob, so that when he comes back, we can talk about that very thing, about a possible lawsuit. And my, in reaching out, and again, when I call first of all, let me just say this to those that are from other cities. I often go to other cities and speak on behalf of other things, and everybody's comments are always welcome. So I don't want anybody to feel left out. But in the email, I mentioned a couple of things. One, I've been talking to other leaders from Southeast LA, our communities here, and there seems to be an interest in filing a lawsuit. So we don't have to go in alone. We can go in with all the neighboring cities because they're all facing the same thing. So again, when Rob gets in tomorrow, I think he needs to sit down with the city managers of all the Southeast area and explore the possibility of that. You mentioned federal law. So two of the things that I found, in 2021, Congress actually passed a law. It was under the National Defense Authorization Act, Section 1064, which actually says that ICE agents, they do wear a mask, but they're still supposed to identify themselves. That's a law that Congress passed in 2021. The other is Senator Mark Warner and Tim Kaine urged ICE to follow the U.S. Department of Homeland Security that require law enforcement to properly identify themselves and to limit the use of face covering. So again, there is already legislation out there. So again, I don't understand why there's a lot of commotion at the federal level suggesting that they don't have to wear it. And I said this once before at a previous meeting, that if one of our officers were to go out, or any department, and they abuse their power, people can be sued because they violated the people's civil rights. But you can sue the person because their name is listed and their badge number is there. But when you have these ICE agents out there and they throw you to the ground and you get injured, all they have to say wasn't me. How do you prove it? They got masks, they got no identification, there's nowhere to go. And then ICE can also say, wasn't ours, might have been some wannabe. So this is why these things are important. Many years ago, we had a discussion about the issue of sanctuary cities. And at that time, we purposely decided, we don't have to call ourselves that. But our police department, they do not cooperate with these policies. If you get pulled over and you get a citation and you're undocumented, we don't report it to anybody. We don't cooperate with anyone in that manner. We don't have to. There's no obligation for us to do that. The only time that would do that if there was a different issue involved, like murder or rape or some serious crime, then we would, I think nobody here would want to keep a person like that. But innocent people who are just here trying to raise a family, trying to feed their family, they're safe. There's actually nothing that our department has done to cooperate. But I point out those congressional laws that already exist. So I don't understand how these people think that they can still get away with it. But again, I am interested in a lawsuit that we can definitely join with other Southeast area communities, because we're all facing the same thing. And I think power in numbers is phenomenal. And this is that serious. You know, I had conversations with my wife. She doesn't want to go out, and not necessarily because she's afraid of getting deported. She doesn't, you know, just to see it on TV where people are getting thrown into vans, she's in tears. You know, and again, look, we never know, you know, how long we're going to live. We're both 65. To have to deal with this, we don't know, for the rest of our life, isn't not something I ever imagined. You know, going out and nowhere is safe. You know, you can go to a ball game and be apprehended. You can go to an amusement park and get apprehended. We don't know where they're going to be, and with the additional funding that they're getting, that's insane. I do know that there are some posters that people were making. I don't know where we can get them. Is it chamber here, Anna? Do you know if we can get some posters made up? Yes? Please, so that you can have them spread to all our businesses about people's rights and all that. So again, this is how we work together. So again, I think a lot of the businesses, particularly on Tweedy Boulevard and California State, all of them, reach out to them and see if they can, you know, put some posters up on their doors, on their windows, to let people know that, you know, ICE is not wanted there. They cannot go into private businesses without proper notification. There's a process. Not that they follow anything, but I mean, we got to try something. Thank you.
Okay. All right. No one else? Can we
Thank you,
get
Madam Mayor.
Go ahead. Council.
So yeah, just to add on to what the council members have already spoken about, getting involved in a lawsuit, especially if after the lawsuit that our city attorney talks about comes up and is favorable, it would be a great opportunity, because then any subsequent lawsuit for damages could also be, awarded, because now they're going to be found to have said you have broken your own federal law, and because you have done that, there is these damages that have occurred to these, cities. Well, now we can actually put a price tag to it, and we can show that there were damages made to our communities, and here's how this has impacted us, and then we can definitely do that. I'm also am happy that I know a lot of us have been reaching out to our senators and our congressmen regarding actually taking action regarding laws, federal laws regarding identification and face masks. And today, Senator Booker and Senator Alex Padilla actually put in place a legislation on the table, presented one regarding requiring ICE agents and any federal agents to not wear masks and actually have an identification number placed on their vest or on their place when they're actually doing police work or agent work on U.S. soil, which is important, right? That is important. And I think any American citizen would want that to happen right? No matter what state you're a part of, if an agent is conducting a raid or an investigation in any part of this country, and they're doing something that's outside of the protocol or outside the procedures that is set forth by our government, they need to be held accountable, and that it needs to be in a transparent way. That same way that our police chief would hold our officers accountable for them not driving correctly or them not following the procedures and policies in place held by our police department, we need to be able to hold them as well accountable. So it's common sense policy, and I think we just need to make sure we're holding that accountable. So yes, this is a first step. I want to make sure that this is something that we do today, and I'm proud that we're doing this. We're going to continue to do the efforts that we have been. We're going to continue to make ourselves available to the families that have been out there for the resources that we're going to be making available. And we're going to continue to partner up with any member of the community, any family out there who needs us to be there. And we're going to continue to do this together. But thank you all for being here today. Thank you for being here and making your voice heard.
Okay. Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve consent calendar.
I'll second your motion. Thank you. Roll call, please. Yes, all of them.
All of them.
Yeah, but are you making an amendment so we can give direction to
what?
join a lawsuit?
He
No,
doesn't
this
need
is
an
the
amendment on the resolution.
Okay, so as long as it's clear. Okay, but you got direction anyway. Right?
We got direction.
Okay, good.
Can I-
And for those who wanted to know what that 2021 rule is, it was Section 1064 of the National Defense Authorization Act signed in 2021 by Congress that requires ICE agents and federal agents to identify themselves. I did a lot of research on this, and it was kind of, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
roll
we all
call.
agree.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Avalos,
Yes.
Councilmember Hurtado,
Yes.
Councilmember Rios,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barron,
Yes.
Mayor Davila.
Yes. And thank you to all of you for being here today and
Thank you.
speaking up. And let's continue the fight. That's what we need to do. Thank you.
Do away with it?
Thank you.
Maybe it's
Okay, we'll go on with, are we coming back to,
Yes, Madam Mayor, we're ready to come back to, I think, item number 1,
okay.
if we could.
Okay, Ida, we're coming back to public hearing, and we left off where council have any questions.
Yes.
Go right
I have
ahead.
several questions. So normally, and you correct me if I'm wrong, we would have before council, before the consolidation plan and the action plan, the decision of the Citizens Advisory Committee as to how they decided to allocate these funds, along with the applications. That's not in here. So I want to know why it is that we're breaking away from protocol as to how we've been conducting this business for the last 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. We did not follow that protocol. Now, I see it in here as to how the CAC allocated it, and they allocated it back in February. So we had March, April, May, June, that it could have been brought to council in the last 4 months, and it was not. So I'm asking why? What happened?
Okay, so we took the item to the CAC for the recommendations, but they didn't release the allocations until May. So the allocations, because of the new administration, have been allocated in May. So we couldn't bring it before we had the allocations, because you have to make the final approval and before we send it, and it has to be based on the allocations that we're receiving.
Okay. So given the fact that we got it in May. So
And I think there's a posting notice.
Yes.
You want to explain that also?
Yeah, once we receive the allocations, we prepare the documents, and then we posted the consolidated plan and the annual action plan in June 5th. Because we're required to do a 30-day notice for public review. So we posted it and we had it on our on the website, but we had public notices in the newspaper. So that's we were following the protocol as HUD requires. But like I said, it was everything was delayed because we didn't receive the allocations until May.
Okay, so it wasn't because staff changed it, it was
Oh,
because of
no,
the
no, not at
situation.
all.
That's what I needed
Yeah.
clarification. So with that, I do have an issue as to how these funds were allocated, because I think we heard from the community today that there is a need. So I know that one of these, I think one of them is for 12,000, if I'm not mistaken. When you say other CDBG activities, what do we mean by other? And can we use that funding for food insecurity?
Food programs fall under the public service grants, and the
Okay.
public service grants have a cap of 15%. And during the presentation, I mentioned we maximize that amount.
Mhm.
Now, the Citizens Advisory Committee makes these recommendations. However, the council can make any changes to the recommendations.
Okay.
So the council has the final recommendation.
So can we allocate those 12,000 into food insecurity, given
Um,
the need that we are in today?
Not for the food insecurity, because the food insecurity will fall under the public
the
service
services?
grants. So what you will be able to do is just move money within that 15% cap on their public service grants. Because the only amount that we can utilize for public service grants is 178,895.
So then could we allocate that 12,000 to go directly to the businesses that have been heavily impacted?
If
As
it's
a grant?
economic development, yes.
Okay. So then I would like to make that amendment, that we allocate those 12,000 to be able to help our small businesses that are struggling right now because of the situation that they are in, which I know 12,000 does not seem like a lot, but I know that for a small business, $1,000 is a lot right now. And they can
Okay.
definitely make that stretch. That would be the only amendment that I would.
We
go
have
ahead.
with us Anna Lenu. She's our consultant too. If she can
Perfect.
clarify that.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Anna Lenu and assisting Carol tonight. So the Southgate Women's Business Center, that is a Chamber of Commerce application.
Mhm.
I just wanted to mention that. But within the dollars that are all listed here, the 12,000, the 415,000, and the 513,990, you can distribute those funds to a business assistance grant
Okay.
program. So it's not just
It's not just the
limited to the 12,
12,000?
like you can carve out and lower some of the other ones that you have
Okay,
here
okay.
to consider that. Because I'm just letting you know that the one here, the 12,000, is a specific
Mhm.
program that's being requested by the Chamber of Commerce. Just
And
so
Well, I
Council-
just want to make sure.
Councilwoman, I would rather carve from somewhere else than from this program.
How about the
Um,
neighborhood revitalization program?
Yeah, they have 400.
It's already on there. Yes, it's already on there. So I just want to make sure that that 12,000 is going to go to all businesses, not just members.
This program
Mhm.
is it's a new program that the chamber is presenting to the city under this. So I believe it's for women. It's a women in business resources. So it's not a regular grants program.
Mhm.
A business assistance program would better be run by the city and implemented, because there's a lot of requirements and applications. So
Mhm.
other cities that receive CDBG, they use business assistance grants under their economic development activities.
Right.
So
But-
it's an eligible activity, but it would be a different program.
Let's do this amendment if I can. In the neighborhood revitalization program, if they have 450,000. Why don't we take off the 15,000 and make it a 400,000 and use the 15,000 for that program that you're mentioning?
I was thinking 75,000 because there's a lot of businesses that are suffering right now.
Well,
And I know you walked around a lot of the businesses. I know of at least 5 businesses that are closing at the end of July. Because,
Our recommendation will
uh-huh,
be to take it from both the neighborhood revitalization and the street and sidewalk. And the reason why is because we do have a wait list for the neighborhood revitalization,
okay,
and that's assisting seniors.
okay, so then.
Hang on, Joe.
Can I
Go ahead.
just make a comment? So, in Public Works, we're overseeing our streets and sidewalks citywide, and we've got a plan that calls for over $80 million in needed street improvements, sidewalk improvements. The number of sidewalk issues that we have throughout the city is a list of over 15,000 in terms of a backlog. We're over the next 5 years, we're trying to focus on bringing the improvement, where we're improving those sidewalks to a level of service that can reduce the number of claims. So I would caution against reducing any of the funding under the streets and sidewalks, because aside from the improvements, that also leads to reducing claims and what have you. So I would recommend that we preserve the 513,990 under the streets and sidewalks.
So if there's a wait list on the neighborhood revitalization program, could we get the 75 from there or at the 50?
Yes, we can move some.
I can explain why, because this amount covers the wait list and it covers, I think, like 3 additional, like new applicants. So if we wouldn't take any more applicants,
Okay,
you would be able to move that money. My memory is a little hazy. I'd have to look, but I'm pretty sure that it can handle that.
okay, perfect. Then I just want to make sure.
Can you give us an example of what that program actually does?
Yes, so the program is very similar to the home-funded residential rehabilitation program, except that there's different requirements for CDBG-funded rehab versus the home rehab. So under CDBG, we don't need to look at we don't need to worry about the threshold value of the home, but it does need to assist like very specific populations. So in this case, it's the seniors is who it assists. Versus the home, it can assist non-seniors as well, as long as they meet other eligibility requirements. But it's very similar. So home rehabs can be, typically it starts with addressing any critical elements like electric, water, things that your house may need upgrades for, moves to windows efficiency. And then the next level or tier would then be the nicer things like painting, or nicer flooring. So it's really kind of the initial safety things. It even would help with re-roofing. So roofs are a big one that are very expensive for the seniors.
Right.
It assists with that. And it's a $60,000 grant for seniors to rehabilitate their homes and get them kind of back up to the quality that, they deserve.
And what do you think the wait list is right now?
Right now, let me see.
Because I know if we don't use it, we will lose it.
I think the wait list is, I'm trying to remember, but
Ballpark is fine.
Approximately.
Yeah, ballpark is fine.
Make it a nice ballpark, okay?
I think it's 4.
Oh.
Not a lot.
4
So-
months?
But I think it's
So-
4 or 5.
So 240,000.
So this would fund 7. This would fund about 7 rehabs.
Okay.
Because we've already, currently, the program, we have 8 that are currently funded, that are in process. 2 complete, 1 starting, the others are in various stages of environmental review and going out to bid.
Right.
So your program already has expended the current dollars, and then this would be to address the wait list. And the wait list, I believe, is 4 or 5.
I just have a question. Given that the administration didn't finalize these numbers until May, did they extend the deadline for the city to
Yes.
approve this? What is that
Yes,
deadline?
so the deadline originally, or every year, is May 15th. They issued the allocation numbers, I think, May 12th or the 14th, something like that. And then cities are given 60 days to approve, to finalize the product that you have before you. And so the deadline was, really, it's this Friday. So it's the 13th if you count all the days, but we're submitting an IDIS on Friday, pending approval. You could be late, and then you're just backed up in the queue for approval, because HUD will have up to 45 days to approve your plan.
But, if the council wanted to kick this and not approve it tonight, does the city lose the money if we were to bring this back in 2 weeks, or what happens
No,
then?
you don't lose the money until August. August 16th is the absolute deadline where you will lose the money.
And if we make any changes, it has to be posted as a change and then it has to come back to us.
Well, you can make changes tonight because it's a public hearing, so you have the authority to make changes tonight.
And then it would be posted as of tonight?
No, it's
already
done.
posted.
Tonight is it.
Oh, okay. So if we make the changes and we approve those changes, we vote on it today, it's a change?
Yes.
And
Your
we-
changes are accepted.
Ah,
So I have a question, Councilwoman Avalos. So you're asking for how much?
I was asking for 75,000.
For,
but
and
for
for what?
for businesses
Businesses.
that are really in dire need right now.
Okay.
Because I know of 5 that are closing, but if there's a business that needs some kind of
But then,
financial assistance, because
but
we can't
then
use it
there
for
has to
something
be a
else.
requirement. Is that correct? In
What's
order
the
for, in
requirement
order
on it?
for,
If I can make a recommendation,
Mhm.
you can allocate the funds for the program, and then we would work, to develop guidelines and bring
Okay.
them back for your approval. Because you would need to assess how much money you want to do, and we
Mhm.
have to create, eligibility that fits within what
Right.
regulations.
Mhm.
These are federal dollars. So
I mean, I'm thinking if we could help 50 businesses at $1,000, I mean,
yeah, but when can they use the funds? Because you're talking about, I mean, the need it's now.
yeah.
Right,
So
but
I
I
don't know
mean,
how long it would take them
how
to.
long? Because if you're talking about guidelines and
Mhm.
how long would the process will take?
The city implemented a business assistance program with CDBG CV funds when you receive the pandemic money.
Uh-huh.
So we can go back to those regulations, with those guidelines, and then just make sure that they address what you want. The direction I'm hearing is that you want to assist businesses that are struggling due to,
our immigrant community not being able to come out
okay,
and shop local.
okay.
Yeah.
Local.
Yeah, so if
Yeah.
they, and I guess demonstrate that there has been a negative impact.
It has.
Because we've done this before, right? Where we've had people who, they do a first come, first serve. And it's
That's-
usually the same people
that's
who
another thing.
benefit from it. And we don't want that. What we're
No.
looking for is actual people who can demonstrate that they've been negatively impacted. And I'm sure they can.
So I think for staff, the
The guidelines.
guidance that we would want from you would be what level criteria, like what would satisfy that criteria, so we can explore and then bring back those guidelines.
I think for me, the criteria would be, if they were generating on average,
Okay.
a $5,000 gain in a month,
Okay.
and now they are at 2.
Okay,
that
so
if that
um,
extra 1,000
Right.
would come in handy
Right.
to at least keep the business at
Yeah.
float, keep the business open, or keep the employees that they already have.
Yeah. But again,
Because-
Councilwoman, I mean, first come, first serve. We don't know if those who are impacted are going to be getting those, those funds.
And
Yeah.
again, so
so
going back to our immigrant community.
City Attorney?
Our city manager, who's technically on vacation, is listening in and has
I
sent,
knew you were out there, Rob.
yes, everyone say hello to Rob here.
He's watching. He's
He
watching.
is listening in here. He is suggesting that, we just get some big picture suggestions and let staff work out the details here.
Sounds good.
And since we now have until August 16th, that we just,
I'm I'm looking at it.
what is our deadline?
Friday?
the deadline to submit on time is July 13th, but we're submitting on the 11th if we can. The deadline to lose your money is August.
Okay, so then we can make a friendly amendment of allocating 50,000 for economic development and leave it at that, and then staff will work on
Well,
the logistics.
What I'm hearing, because we have to be more specific, it would be for a small business assistance
Small
program.
businesses, yes.
And then we can come back with the guidelines that would be outside of the money piece.
Yes,
The money
right.
piece is part of your
Yes.
con plan and your action plan.
Yes, yes.
Well, let's just be clear. So the motion would be to amend
Neighborhood revitalization program.
the neighborhood revitalization program to pull 50,000
Mhm.
from that and direct staff to come up with guidelines consistent with what has been discussed
Yes.
for disadvantaged businesses in the city,
Yes.
and to make sure that that carve out is consistent with federal law.
Yes.
Is that correct? Is that good guidance?
And I also want to make sure that the funds that the chamber gets is open to all small businesses in Southgate, not just to members. But I would also like to, hopefully, Anna, later on offline, we can meet to find out what it is that the chamber is doing for our businesses that I know are struggling, aside from putting up posters, so that we can actually get a in-depth understanding of the magnitude of the impact that the ICE raids has had on our business community.
Yeah, I would be very careful about tying this to the ICE raids. I think that,
Our
unrelated
political climate.
unrelated to the ICE
federal
raids,
funds.
that the people are just not shopping,
They're not.
right? And so that's impacting businesses, right? So I would think that, let's make this consistent with federal law.
Federal law.
I'll
where-
second that motion.
where
with
we're
you, Mayor.
there. And so I think, do you have enough guidance? Does that
Yes.
motion
The-
work for you guys?
Yes, if I may, we did the math really quick. So what we're changing is everything would stay the same except for the neighborhood revitalization program would drop down to 365,000. And we would be adding a small business assistance grant program at 50,000.
Yes. But also just making sure you go back, and hopefully you're not submitting this because I hope it's a draft. On page 174, where it says family violence, that's fine, but then you go down and it says project name, Southern California Rehabilitation Program. And it says the family violence program offers blah, 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 blah,
So
blah,
we made a
blah, blah.
mistake there. Thank you.
Oh, it's on others as well. That's why I'm like, just make sure we go through it because.
Thank you. Well,
It's
we
just-
have to enter each item
Yes, I
individually,
know.
but I will check that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And provided the motion is granted and staff follows your direction, they're authorized to go ahead and submit if they can meet the deadline?
Yes.
That's
So
part of the motion,
That
correct?
is part of the motion with the revisions.
Does that
Thank
work?
you. Yes, that works. Thank you,
Okay,
ladies.
we have a
Need a
motion
vote.
and a second. Roll
Yeah,
call.
I second it. Yeah, and real quick, it's just sad that the numbers keep dropping every single year
Yes.
of what we're getting. And why it's frustrating as a Californian is because we pay a lot into federal taxes and we don't get our fair share back. We're getting a smaller portion than what we.
I got a good one. I went shopping in Portland. No taxes.
Wow.
No sales tax, no food tax. Okay, maybe there's a gratuity in one of the restaurants, but there was absolutely no taxes. And it was so nice. And so I asked some of the citizens there in Oregon, like, so what's the catch? It's our income.
Yeah,
It's their income. And trust me when I tell you they get their
Real
money.
quick, I got to, because I said this at a meeting we were at, Al Rios and I were at, and I said, it's kind of sad how you earn money and you pay taxes on it. And then that money you earned, you spend it and you pay taxes on that again. You get double whammy and something just doesn't seem fair. All right, got that out of the way. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Avalos?
Yes.
Councilmember Hurtado?
Yes.
Councilmember Rios?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barron?
Yes.
Mayor Davila?
Yes.
And Rob, who's listening, says hello back to you all.
Okay.
Rob who?
We'll see you
Rob,
tomorrow.
Rob who? Art, you're doing a great job, Art.
Thank you. Thank you. I put
Mayor,
you on the
can I
chair,
ask
so
the
I'll
lady-
be stuck here for a while.
Okay. Hold on a
Al's got
second,
Al's
everyone.
got a
No, I want to, before you leave, Carol, could you just talk a little bit about the Cesar Chavez Foundation, the affordable housing? I guess I missed it somewhere. I know.
It is a great facility. It's going to be beautiful. I visited the one in El Monte, and it was beautiful. I'm looking forward to it being built here. But yeah, please, I'm
Just
sorry.
real quick, just a summary, just real quick, so I know a little bit more. Because we're spending, what, 1.3 million, so,
Yes. So we have been working with the Cesar Chavez Foundation. We allocated the home ARPA funding for this project, which is about $2.1 million. It is going to come to the council at a later date, but we released a NOFA, and then we had two applications, and the Cesar Chavez Foundation was submitted as a complete application. So we're working with them. They are also working on securing other funding sources. We know there are some changes on the county funding because they required that they are close to a hospital, close to transportation. They have different requirements in order for them to qualify for the funding. They also have applied for the Gateway Affordable Housing Trust. The trust has set up a list of projects throughout all the cities that are part of the Gateway Affordable Housing Trust. And so they are on the list. And when it comes to, or the trust receives additional funding, they will be allocating the funding in order. So they're looking for that. And then they will be applying for tax credits as well, state funding. So Cesar Chavez is very experienced on securing funding. And so they are working on that, but they are also working on educating the county and other funding sources, because not every community has the amenities that some of the funding sources are requesting. So that's something that we have to educate the funding sources about. And then they have been talking to the county. We're looking at other funding sources so that they can secure the funding. But also Cesar Chavez has funding that they bring with them, as well as programs, programs, after school programs and so on. And we went to visit the site on El Monte, and they have in El Monte, when they developed that project, they develop it in two phases. So that's the same thing that they want to do here in order to secure the funding. So they will be developing the project in two phases. So that's where we're at. They already secured the land, and we're looking forward to having that project built
Where's
here in
this land
Southgate.
located at?
It's on, I believe it's 3800 Firestone Boulevard. Yeah.
What's the cross street? Oh, San Juan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, so it's
There's
where
that
the car
empty shop
dealership
there,
was
right?
at.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the first story will have some space for businesses and programs that
So
they will
mixed
be.
use.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just if I can add, like the one in El Monte it's a very unique build out where they actually, the main floor, the first floor, offered a lot of services to the residents that was very beneficial. They know that the families are, the both parents usually have to work, so they offered daycare services on site for families. So they were able to do that at a very low, reasonable cost. Some were actually 100% subsidized at no cost. And then after school services. So when a student would come home from school, they would have actual after school tutoring services on site. So they would be able to provide that. So there's a lot of opportunities that, having a program like the Cesar Chavez Foundation to be bringing that to our community. So looking forward to hopefully seeing this come to fruition. And it was great to see that facility there.
Madam Mayor, if I may just, thank you, Carol, for working on this. I know you've been working diligently in getting this to council. I'm just really saddened that mental health was not included in this round, but I understand it. Doesn't sit well with me because I know that the need is definitely there. But I know that, the agency is doing well right now with everything that's happening. But hopefully next year, it'll we could allocate some funding if we get some.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam
All
Mayor.
right. Okay. So with that, thank you, Carol, and thank you for the great presentation and the great job that you guys do. Okay. So with that, City Auditor.
So, Madam Mayor, question for the city clerk. Did the motion that the vote you just took, did that cover all of the consent calendar items?
Previously, yes, it covered
Okay.
all.
Yeah, we did the consent
yeah,
and we did the public hearing.
Just want to make sure. Thank you.
Yes, we did. Thank you.
Okay, City Auditor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Item number 9, council will consider approving the warrant register for July 8th, 2025. Grand total is $4,611,571. Cancellations are 105973, 106265, 1071488, 110385, 108030, 107346, 106613, 107173, 107144, and 10831. I'm sorry, 108381. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any member in the audience would like to have a question regarding the warrant register? Seeing nobody, thank you very much. Madam Clerk, any emails regarding the warrant register?
We have no emails.
Thank you. Bringing it back to council to the wishes of council.
Motion to
Second.
We have a
Okay.
first and a second.
And yeah, further discussion, please.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Hurtado.
so I noticed that there's a lot of expenses. We're talking about trying to help out our local businesses and stuff. And I know that there's some expenses, for example, at the O'Reilly Auto Parts. I'm assuming that's the one in Southgate?
So from my understanding, I think there is, Arturo, I think there is an O'Reilly's.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. but that's
O'Reilly
something
used
that
to
I
be
can
on
follow
notice,
up
but I
on.
don't
It's the
think
one
it's
on
there.
Paramount, but my understanding is the one on Paramount.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that because we have auto parts stores here in Southgate, and we're buying them outside.
AutoZone and O'Reilly.
There's
Is it
there-
O'Reilly on Long Beach and Palm?
there
Or
was
is it
one.
It's AutoZone, it's on state, but that's Linwood.
And then
AutoZone is Linwood.
there's expenses
But then
that's-
there's one in Otis and Firestone.
Yeah.
Firestone, Otis and
We're on Otis.
Twitty.
But I don't think it's there anymore.
Oh, no, it's not there.
It is
It is
still
there?
there.
Okay,
Yes. It's
I'm
there.
bad at auto parts, but again, I just want to make sure we're spending it here. We have an expense at Smart and Final. What couldn't we buy?
Yeah, we'll take a look at where we're shopping and report back to the council.
Right, but you get my point,
Yeah,
right? Here
yeah.
we have local shops here that we
Yeah.
want to help out. And here we are spending money again, with all due respect to my friends from Linwood, we're
Yeah.
spending money at Smart and Final. Right? And again, if we can look at all the various things, I'm not trying to change anything drastic. I'm just saying that we got local shops here that
We gotta
you know,
support our
e-
local businesses.
Yeah, even like hardware stuff. I mean, we're going to Home Depot. If we can buy something at our hardware stores here in Southgate, I think we'd want to help them. They're
I know.
struggling.
I know we do shop at like Ziegler's, right? And when
Ziegler's
when it's something that we have to get quickly, I know if it's something that we have to buy like a lot of or something, we're probably going to our local Home Depot to get some of the other stuff that we
I just
can't
want
get.
us thinking in that direction. That's all I'm saying.
Understood. We'll review our purchasing practices and then we'll align that with.
You heard that,
these
Rob?
goals, Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Rob is listening.
Yes, Rob, I hope you got that memo, but we'll email it to you.
Well,
Gabriel, we need a smart final in our city.
Yeah. All right. Roll call, please. So did we do roll call?
Wait,
Yes.
just to make sure. Gabriel, is there a Smart and Final coming to Southgate where Supit is on Firestone Boulevard? I believe that was the word, but I'm not sure.
I haven't heard of that.
Okay.
But I could find into it, report
Yes,
back.
please.
From my understanding, it was a change of ownership because Smart Final is buying out some of the El Supers, but there's not a change in name. It's just a change of ownership. So they're keeping the name, but it's just a change in ownership in the file. Yeah.
Roll call?
All right. I think we did roll call already,
Roll
but
call,
let's do it one more
please. No,
time.
we
Roll
haven't
call.
done it yet.
Okay. First and a second roll call.
Councilmember Avalos?
Yes.
Councilmember Hurtado?
Yes.
Councilmember Rios?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Barron?
Yes.
Mayor Davila?
As long as we get a smart and final. Thank you. With that, thank you, everyone.
Motion to adjourn.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. You guys can't go anywhere. I'm not done yet. Can you guys please have a seat? No, just kidding. I just want to see if you guys are listening. Like, our two council members here are not listening? I say we're not done yet. No, everybody just, see, I even forgot. Everybody emotion. No, I just wanted to say thank you, council. We had I think it was a very productive meeting tonight. We heard a lot of concerns that our residents may have, and very valid concerns. And I just want to say thank you, because this is the only way that we can continue moving forward and helping our community by sticking together. And hard times are coming ahead of us, and we need to move forward with this. And yes, council, not council. I'm ready
Also,
to
before we adjourn, I just think the council should give a little round of applause or acknowledgement to Arturo, who filled in
Arturo.
admirably.
That's why I said, Rob who?
No, but thank you, everyone, and especially staff. Yes, Rob will get him tomorrow. But staff, thank you for all the support that you've been giving us. And yes, you have done an amazing job. So thank you. I'll see everyone on Saturday. Thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn.